My name is Hamdan Azhar. I grew up in New York City in Brooklyn. This story takes place, it's 2002, it's October. George Bush is president. And it's a very weird time in America because the Iraq war is about to start any day now. They just passed the Patriot Act. We have a vice president who shot his best friend in the face while hunting for quails. Like really weird times to be a 16-year-old. And I'm going to Bronx High School of Science, which is a very nerdy school. It's a very elite school. It produced 9 Nobel Prize winners, which the school is very proud of. It also produced me. And, I am a very nerdy kid. I'm a good student. I'm taking like 7 AP classes. I'm very studious, but there's something inside me, like I want to do something different. I want to stand up. I want to be a leader. I want to be an activist. And the world just seems like such a terrible place. And I'm like, what can I do? How can I make a difference? And this is a very interesting time at my high school also because we also have a new principal who's kind of like a mini George Bush. Her name is Principal Reedy, and she is a tyrant. She passes an executive order her first day in office where she says students may no longer leave the campus for lunchtime, which is like wild because we used to have so much freedom. We would walk out, we'd go to Kenny's truck, we'd have cheese fries, and now we have to stay in school. We have to badge in and out every day, which is like a tremendous assault on our, physical movement. And it's like, is the Supreme Court here? How is this happening? And, she barges into classrooms, yells at teachers. And one day I have the brilliant idea that I am going to overthrow my principal. Now, if that wasn't enough, remember, I'm an overachiever. So I was like, I'm also going to end the war in Iraq. And there's only one problem, which is that I don't really have any friends. I'm a very nerdy kid. I have no friends. And not only that, no, that wouldn't be fatal, but this is also before social media. So not only is there no Facebook, to give you an idea of how old I am, there's also no MySpace yet. So I do, I'm like, where do I start? I'm like, why don't I make a flyer? Because back then, flyers, it's like nice things, Dan Smith will teach you guitar, stop the war in Iraq, flyers. So I go home, I make a flyer. It has a picture of George Bush. It has a picture of Principal Reedy. And it says, stop Bush's war in Iraq, stop Principal Reedy's war on Bronx science. And, at the bottom it says, students united for social justice, together will make a difference. It's not really students, it's student united for social justice, because I'm the only one, but they don't know that. Now remember, I'm a good kid, right? So I'm even afraid to post this. So I follow the protocol. So there's a woman, Ms. Gomez, she runs student activities. If you want to post a flyer, she stamps it. So I go to Ms. Gomez, she's so happy to see me, I'm a great student. I'm saying, Ms. Gomez, I have to see you, I want to post this flyer. She's like, oh, no problem, what is it for, chess club? I'm like, no, it's not for chess club. She looks at the flyer and she gasps. She's like, oh, Dios mío, Hamdan. And she looks at the calendar, she's like, is it April Fool's Day? Like, what is going on? Because she's like, am I living in the Twilight Zone? Like, George Bush, the principal, like, this flyer is contraband because this principal is a tyrant. So she says, listen, I really can't do this. I don't know what you're doing. I'm worried about you. I'm saying, please, I really need this. I need this in my life. I need a cause. Help me. And she says, listen, go to the assistant principal. Now, she was trying to scare me because any normal 15-year-old, if you tell them to go to the assistant principal, will not go to the assistant principal, because that's what I did. I knocked on the door. I walk in, Miss Scott, older African-American woman, very stern. I said, Miss Scott, I'd like to post this flyer. She looks at it. Now, she's a senior, administrator, so she keeps character, right? There's no gasping. She's like, okay, let me get my stamp. She pulls out a magic marker. She scrawls all over my beautiful flyer, right off on George Bush's face. Permission denied, may not be posted, Miss Scott. Now, if she was smart, she wouldn't have given that piece of paper back to me. Because that flyer by itself was dangerous, but now that it has Miss Scott's autograph and the permission denied, it's like I went from bad to badass. Because I took that flyer to the library and I made 100 photocopies and I started posting it all over the school. And I'm posting it I think I actually might have the flyer here just so you guys see what it looks like. This is the flyer. I still held on to it 20 years later. I'm so proud of it. So I'm posting it, and this security guard comes up to me. He says, listen, I don't know what you're doing. We got a lot of complaints. I need to take those flyers. Now remember, I'm a nerdy kid. I watch a lot of Law & Order. I watch a lot of C-SPAN. I have the Bill of Rights memorized. So I'm saying, if you want these flyers, that's an unauthorized search and seizure according to the 14th Amendment, you're going to need, do you have a warrant? And his face goes white because no one has ever said that to him. And I'm like a little kid, and he's like, he's like having a meltdown. It's like the system is malfunctioning. The simulation is malfunctioning, as they say. So, and then he's like, wait right here. I said, I'm sorry, are you detaining me? Because according to the 8th Amendment, that constitutes an unlawful seizure of my person. Do you really know what you're getting into? The guy runs away. He runs away from me. I'm like, cool, I'm going to go to AP Calculus. So I go to AP Calculus. I'm sitting there. I'm learning about derivatives and integrals. I get a call in AP Calculus, the principal's office. They're like, they need you to go to the principal's office. And I'm like, should I bring my stuff? He's like, yeah, bring your stuff. And I'm like, okay. So I bring my stuff. I go to the principal's office. I'm sitting there. This has never happened to me. So I'm like excited because I'm a weird kid, right? I need excitement. And then they come out to me and they give me a piece of paper. It says the principal is convening an emergency suspension hearing because you have distributed unauthorized literature. I'm like, holy shit, wow, that's a great name for what I did when I tell my parents, I was distributing unauthorized literature, First Amendment. But no, it's not funny because my parents are very strict. They're very, follow the rules, let's just not color outside the lines. And I'm kind of freaking out because I do not want to get suspended right before I'm applying to college. And I'm like, what do I do? So I watched a lot of C-SPAN, so it helped me out. So I called the ACLU. They don't pick up, so I leave them a voicemail. This is before I hit puberty, so my voice is even more high-pitched than it is now. And it's like, my name is Hamdan. I'm a student at the Bronx High School of Science. My principal wants to suspend me. Can you guys help me? My parents are really strict. And, it happened, and I was there. Now, a normal person might have waited for them to call me back, right? I don't care. I'm going to show up at their office. I took the 1 train. It's on Broad Street. I walk into the office with my little backpack, and I just walk in, and the girl's like, can I help you? And I'm looking up at the desk, and I just give her the flyer. I said, I'm a student at the Bronx High School of Science, and her mouth is hanging open because this has never happened at the ACLU. She's like, wait right here. And then they bring in lawyers. Everyone's like, wait right here. I feel like I'm in a video game where I'm getting fast-tracked through all the levels, because within 15 minutes, I am sitting at a conference table with 20 lawyers in suits. Right before me is Donna Lieberman, the executive director of the New York chapter of the ACLU. This is the same woman I see every day on C-SPAN suing George Bush and actually trying to stop the war in Iraq. And here I am with my flyer, and it's just incredible. I feel like I'm in a movie. I feel like I'm main character, all the lights are on me, and it's incredible. And by the end of that meeting, they have a 20-page letter to the General Counsel of the New York City Board of Education telling them that I am fully within my rights to post this flyer, they cannot suspend me, and telling them that students have rights and that I have rights. I think I have that letter. I have that 20-page letter. So I'm feeling so good about myself. And then at the end of the meeting, they say, wait, we forgot. You're a minor. We can't represent you without your parents' consent. I was like, are you kidding me? What? They're like, no, you got to bring your parents here. They have to sign on the dotted line. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, okay, Mom, Dad, let's go. We're going to the ACLU. They're like, what's that? I'm like, we're just going to some lawyers. They're like, what, are you serious? So we go to the ACLU, and the lawyers are beaming. They're like, you should be so proud of your son. He's standing up for civil liberties. He's a champion. You should be so proud of him. The values you're teaching him. My parents are like, what? How have you conned these people? Do they not know what's going on here? I'm like, just relax. And then we leave, and then finally my dad turns to me, and I'm like, this is the moment I've been waiting for my whole life, right? My dad's gonna be like, I love you, I'm proud of you, you're the best kid ever. And he says, how much are these lawyers going to charge us? So it's crazy, but the incredible thing happens. Within a few weeks, the school backs down, they drop all of the charges, I am fully vindicated, I don't get suspended. And it's just when I think back on that story, let's be real here. Let's try to be real. I did not stop the war in Iraq. I did not overthrow my principal. She stayed for another 15 years. She just retired recently. But I look back on that moment, and it's sometimes it's not about the outcome. Sometimes it's about the journey. Sometimes it's about learning that as a 15-year-old kid with a flyer, you can make a difference in the world, and that sometimes the world might seem like such a horrible place, But when you stand up against the system, you don't always get smashed and squashed. Sometimes people stand up with you. Sometimes they cheer you on. Sometimes they're proud of you. Sometimes they say that you inspire them. And sometimes that's all you need to make a difference. My name is Hamdan Azhar. Thank you so much for listening to my
Hamdan Azhar, everybody.